with the assessment objective 1. Now, moving to the next segment, that's AO2. It's an application and the understanding of the new situation and solving the problem in a different context. Now we know the basic understanding. Now we know the basic fundamentals. But then here we come that how we are putting forward to the basic fundamentals, right? How we are applying our knowledge to solve the more complex question. Coming to the AO3, which is all about analyzing, right? So you have come across the many of the scientists or many of the people who are analyzing the problem, right? Now bringing out the solution for that. Similar thing you have to do, right? The same kind of the job is expecting from your end, where you need to analyze the particular content, right? Analyzing what exactly they are asking, and then you are putting forward the experimental base or the practical base answers. Now here, if we talk about the weightage, you can able to see AO1 is all dealing with the 40%, as it's quite visible to everyone. And then AO2 is dealing with the 40%, and the 20% is awarded for the AO3, which is practical base. So you can understand each and every segment is equally important to ace the examination. So paper 1 awarded for like 50%, paper 2 for the 50, and in total we are getting the 100. Okay, I hope that this AO or the assessment objective is quite very crystal clear for everyone, and understanding that each segment in a GCSE is equally important. All right. So it's like a small challenges. GCSE is not like a big hurdle that you have to go through, but it's like a small thing that you need to be very keen about in order to ace the examination. Moving ahead and talking about the biology in the great detail. So now let's try to understand that what exactly the syllabus of the biology or the GCSE triple science are expecting us in a biology field. Now, the paper for the biology will last for 1 hour and 45 minutes, and there is two tiers. Definitely, there is a foundation and a higher tier. And today's session or in today's webinar, we are specifically focusing on the higher tier, where you are expecting to write the answer in a more structural manner. You will be getting the more higher order thinking question, or a complexity of the question is a bit higher here. The grading system is ranging from 4 to 9, and as we know that 9 is the highest one. Now let's see what all are the key concepts that you need to put forward. But before that, I really wanted to know who all you like biology. So yes, do let me know how many of you like biology, right? And why. You can also give your answer that why you like biology as well. Coming to the exam structure, as I already told you that we are having the two papers. So focusing on paper 1. It's my very humble request to everyone. If it is not required, it will be great if you can able to keep your audio off. So, and you can use the chat box instead to communicate really well. Here, when we are talking about the very first paper of the biology, we are having the cell biology. It's all dealing about the cell, about the individual persons, right? We all are single cell organisms and how we come to be in a multicellular, a whole history of the cell. Then coming to the organization, right? We are having different systems. So we are focusing on the different systems who are working so efficiently in order to ace the problem. Moving to the infections and the response, everyone is quite aware, right? That infection is the response is very important after the COVID period, right? So that's what we are going to discuss. The vaccination, the immune system, quite very fascinating. And then coming to the bioenergies, where we are talking about how exactly we can be present in a systematic purpose, right? A balance in our environment. All right. It's all because of the n number of the biological processes which is moving. Okay. These are the topic of the paper 1. All right. Now moving to the topic of the paper 2. Let's see what all are the topics we are having. And all those topics we have to learn in a great detail. And definitely there are certain example based or the practical based questions are there with the relevant topic. And as we know that this whole paper consists of like 50%. Okay. Now coming to the key topic of the paper 2, look at here very nicely all the topics. The very first is the hemostat and the responses. Here we are focusing on the body temperature, blood glucose level, right? So we are just trying to know ourselves better. Okay. And you know, the science is something which gives us the opportunity to understand ourselves and our atmosphere or the environment in a better way. So that's what we are getting. Here come the inheritance, variations, and the evolution is all talking about the DNA structure, against a basic unit of the human or any sort of the living organism on the earth. Coming to the ecosystem or ecology, we are talking about, or we will be dealing with how exactly the symbiotic relationships are there between the human and the other, or though each and every animal is quite dependent on one and other, how exactly the ecology work. So basically here we understand the key topic which is prevalent in the GCSE triple science in the paper 1 and a paper 2. Now let's try to understand that how we can able to ace the examination. For that, let's try to solve this particular question. As you can able to see this question on the screen, the question is asking us that light intensity varies during the 24-hour. Figure shows the overall exchange of carbon dioxide in oxygen for the tree at 3 different light intensity. Now you have seen the question is not quite direct, and that's what the AQA do. Okay, they are not putting forward the question or not putting forward the direct question. They're always asking the question in a certain complex manner to understand your understanding skill or your simplification skills as well. Now look at here, we have been provided with the 3 diagram over here. The tree number 1, that is A, is standing in a bright light. Then the same tree is standing in the dim light, and the same tree when standing in a no light. And here, of course, for the every diagram and for the every representation, we are having a certain short versions. So this solid arrow is all indicating the carbon dioxide, and a dotted one indicating the oxygen. Now, the very first, what you will do if you come across such kind of the question, try to read the diagram. Yes, you heard me right. You need to read the diagram, okay? You need to understand that what exactly the diagram is trying to convey to us, because then only we can able to answer the question. If we can able to understand the question, then our answer is much more appropriate. Look at here. What the question is speaking is that explain the overall exchange of the carbon dioxide in the oxygen at the 3 different light intensity. So they are talking about how exactly the intensity of the carbon dioxide and the intensity of the oxygen is different. Now I'm pretty much sure that everyone can able to guess this particular question is from which topic. Any guesses, everyone? This question is from which topic? You can put your answer in the chat box anytime, right? So this particular question is from the topic photosynthesis. Okay, have a look. In this particular question, in this particular diagram, you can able to see as it is dealing with a solid arrow, that's a carbon dioxide. So plant is intaking the carbon dioxide, giving out the oxygen. In the second scenario, we cannot able to see any movement of the gases. In the third, we can see, okay, plant is intaking the oxygen and giving out the carbon dioxide. Now, if you can able to guess the processes behind it, then I must say, yes, you're on the right track. Okay, you can put forward your answer to tell me what process is happening in diagram number A and what process is happening in the diagram number C. Oh, my bad. It must be C. Okay, but let's try to understand how we can able to simplify or how we can able to put forward the answer. Now we know what exactly happening in this question, what exactly happening in this diagram. Look at here the question again. The question is stating explain the overall exchange of carbon dioxide, oxygen at the 3 different intensity of light. Now look at the word explain here. Okay, people, there are a certain command word in each and every kind of the question, like explain, describe, compare, right? And these command word is having a certain expectation from you. And here when we are talking about the explain, so it is expecting from us to put forward all the essential information like causes, the process, and etc. All right, now let's see how we can able to put forward the answer. Till then, you can let me know that what process is going on in the diagram A and what process is going on in a diagram C. Okay, so the ideal way to write the answer of this question is to put forward all the essential points. You can able to see in a very first diagram, it's a bright light, and we know the photosynthesis is quite prevalent in the bright light. Photosynthesis, okay, making of the food in presence of the sunlight. All right, so definitely in the bright light, the availability of the carbon dioxide is quite good. Carbon dioxide is a raw material, so we are putting forward all the essential point where we are dealing or where we are including why carbon dioxide is important, why at the bright light the photosynthesis is quite prevalent, and etc. So you can see that in a very first segment we have put forward all the essentials informations, right? We have put forward like, okay, why, what exactly happening, what exactly the process is. The process is the photosynthesis, more carbon dioxide, more photosynthesis, right? More oxygen will be liberated, that can be used for the respiration process. Moving to the second segment that is talking about the dim light. Now we have seen that in a dim light, right, the light is less. So as the sunlight is one of the factor for the photosynthesis, so we can able to understand if the light is less, then definitely the photosynthesis will get impacted and it will be also less. All right, so you can able to see here also we are putting forward all the essential information. Yes, the photosynthesis is getting slow because the carbon dioxide intensity is now quite there. All the carbon dioxide is being absorbed, and apart from that we are also understanding the balancing is not really good in the dim light. But coming to the no light, there's no photosynthesis at all. We have seen that the oxygen is being intaken and the carbon dioxide is being taken out. So when you are reading that particular diagram, when you are understanding that diagram, you are solving half of your problem and you can able to put forward the answer much more nicely. So we say that, okay, in the final, in the C section of the diagram, what is happening? It's just a respiration, no photosynthesis. Now, coming to the marks distribution to understand in order to ace the marks. Now, that particular question is for the 6 marks, right? Now, in order to achieve the 6 marks, we are expecting such sort of the answer where you are explaining the process, the cause of the process, the effect of the process, and everything that is related to the exchange of the gases over here. Getting the point clear? Right now we are allocating, or the AQA is allocating 3 marks for the bright light section indicating all the important resources, 2 marks for the dim light because the information is quite restricted, and 1 marks for the no light because we have to just mention that, okay, it's just a respiration, no photosynthesis. All right, so here I can able to, I believe that yes, you are understanding that how you are putting forward the answer according to the question. But what if we got the same question in OCA or EdExcel, right? Then how we are going to present, all right? As I already told you, you will say that, ma'am, you have told me that all of these are quite different. So let me tell you the clear-cut comparison that if this question is presented in a OCR and EdExcel, how they are expecting you to represent the answer. In a very first, where AQA is expecting the detailed description about the CO2 and O2 exchange and etc., the EdExcel is just expecting you the balancing of the photosynthesis and the respiration because these are the 2 processes which is quite very prevalent and which is quite going on. And there are also the OCR. OCR is expecting you to explain the balancing between the photosynthesis and respiration again. Moving ahead, when we yes, is there anything? Okay, all right. When we go through the structure, we can able to understand the structures of these segments are quite different from one another. And in a shortcut, you try to understand whenever such kind of the question is appearing in the AQA, it's quite more detailed. But in Excel, it's quite much point to point, and in the OCR, you need to represent it this particular segment in more comparison format, okay, or more explainable format. All right, so here we understand how we can able to compare it really well. Now, let me tell you the ideal way of solving any sort of the question. So first of all, it is important to break down the question because the AQA is having the habit of not asking the straightforward question, but to make it more complex, or we may have the one single question with the different segments, like 2 or 3 questions are there. All right, so it's important to break down the question to understand the chronology of the question, what exactly it is asking. So use a dramatic diagram very effectively wherever it is required, or a graphical representation, because that data handling is also important in the AQR, as it's a practical based examination, or the 20 percentage is all coming from the experimental method. Now, some important tips and tricks that you can able to follow is that a time management. Now, time management is something, it's not just restricted towards the exam, but for the life as well. So you have to be very precise about the time, that how we are investing your time in each question. So we are expecting that 1 minute per marks, right? For the each mark, if the question is for 4 marks, so we are expecting you are giving the 4 minute to that question. If the question is for 10 marks, we are expecting that you will give the 10 minute or 9 minute for that particular question. Read the entire question. As I told you, it may have the multiple parts. So it is essential for us to present it really well, to read it very thoroughly, and revise a practical skills. Now, revision is something which help you to strengthen the concept really well. If the fundamentals fundamentals are clear, you can able to play with rest of the things, right? So revision makes the fundamental quite clear for you. Use the correct terminology. We are dealing with the science, right? We cannot go ahead with the vague explanations. We have to use a very accurate terminology in that sense. And practice the test paper is a something which make us or something which help us to identify the exam pattern really well. And we also learn that particular segment in that great detail. Now, yes, here we understand about the biology in the great detail, and I hope that you understand that how you can able to ace the GCSE Triple Science Bio exam. Now, I'll invite Lalit sir to carry forward. Yes, Lalit sir, over to you. And yes, it's a very humble request from everyone to keep your mic mute if it is not required. Thank you so much. Yes, Lalit sir.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, sir, you're
Hello?
audible.
Whether I'm audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
So, hi guys, thank you so much for joining in. And Lavisha ma'am, you have given so much details in terms of GCSE and tips and tricks. And I'm also enlightened of a few of the topics, photosynthesis and the kind of, use of the diagram shades and non-shades. Yeah, diagram is the most important thing when you read a question. So if you understand the question, your 60% battle would be over from the understanding the question, what exactly need to be answered. And most of the time, the answer is, within the question, if you understand is better. Now, coming back to the kind of courses we provide, so we have KS2, KS3, and A levels, means year 3 to year 13, all the classes, we are having different kind of offerings and curriculums. So all the classes, we have different batches, specifically for the boards, for example, AQA, OCR, EdExcel, and basically we have short time, that's why we couldn't uh, put some other boards, which is like Educus is also another board which we focus. So there are other boards as well, but because of the limitation of time, we have covered only the 3 major boards. So we have focused batches in terms of different boards, right? And different I would say uh, exam story, and accordingly we have designed our courses. Okay. So if you see here, if 11 plus is comes under KS2, key stage 2, and then KS3 is basically year 7 and year 8 and year 9. 9 is basically coming to GCSE part 1 types. Okay, then GCSE start specifically in year 9 and 11, then A levels is year 12 and 13. So if you can see, we are covering most of the key subjects like maths, English, creative writing, comprehension, and we are for 11 plus. KS3 and GCSE for math sciences, English and computer science, and French, German, Spanish, means all the languages as well as computer science as well, apart from the key core subjects we are offering in all 3 levels. Next slide, please. Yeah, and this is the key slide I always love about, because this is the 4-stage process which we can see, which we use to emphasize our own courses, and what's the strategy we use to get those own courses to become the students' own courses. Means basically the kind of learning which we are delivering is a 4-stage learning. And learning, I always say, it's a 2 outcome we look for. Definitely the practical life implementation of the concepts which you learn, and the most important piece is the grades. And if you're working for grade, believe me, you would not get the grades if you are not able to do it the first stage, which is called practical implementation of the concepts in life. Then only you are going to get a good grade. So these 2 things are linked to each other. So we follow 4-stage process. First stage is pre-lecture material. We always give this pre-lecture material to the students, so that the student would be ready before going to the class, and they would have the basic concept already with them before entering the class. So means we already give that kind of material 2 or 3 days before the class. Once the class within the class is started and the teacher going to teach, we expect the student has already gone through the material, and we expect the discussion is more around the application of those concepts which are in the part of presentation and exam style questions. So this both the things would get discussed which is the real outcome of the understanding of any topic. So this is the lecture, and we have interactive lecture, a live lecture with the teacher. The third stage is assessment and analysis. Basically, assessment analysis is more on, you know, assignment is basically kind of homework which we give to the student once the topic is completed, but test is basically the proper test which is allocated to the student on the weekend, so that whatever the concept has been done, whatever homework been done, student practice that as a test, proper practice of examination questions. Okay, so this is the third stage, and the we do analysis and system do analysis, because of the most MCQs question all systematically, automatically evaluated, and your result analysis would come in front of you in terms of your topic, which topic is your strong area, which is your weak areas. Then coming to the fourth stage, which is also the key and very important stage in the triangulation approach. Triangulation approach means teacher, student, and the parent. Parent is equally important party. In fact, I would say the more important party, because the student is with you for 23 hours and only 1 hour with us. Okay, that's why parent is a very, very important entity in our triangulation approach. So here comes the feedback, where we give the feedback to the student and the parent, that which topic is the strong area, which topic is the weak area, where is I would say there are scope of improvement, and where we need to just make stronger to more stronger areas. Okay, and once we know the feedback, and we plan devise the plan, that this is the plan we are going to increase the learning, right? And we go to the next level of of learning of that particular topic, which is the weak areas, and what strategy we need to change to make the student understand those kind of weak areas. So this is the four-stage process, which is every week we repeat, and next week again, next week again, and once we have the quarterly exam or mid-year exam, then we will repeat and see, okay, how much improvement we have done in terms of reinforcement and feedback sessions. And we always have called doubt session, which is not mentioned here. Means every class, when we do the class, after the class we do the homework, and there are some doubts student would have, so we always have doubt session. So our culture is doubt session. All the planning, year long planning we have done for all the topics along with doubt sessions. So that's all from this slide. We can move to the next slide. And here I like to hand over the dais to MMM. MMM is very, very, I would say, experienced teacher in chemistry, and she knows all about the not only GCSE but other levels as well. And but here this workshop is limited to GCSE. That's why she's going to focus only on GCSE part. Over to you, MMM.
Thank you so much, Lalit sir. Okay, so today, hi everyone, I'm
Ma'am,
Emma.
your video is bit. I can see through you. Means your video is coming bit.
Even I'm not understanding why it is happening. Is it better now, sir?
Yeah, it's bit better. Bit better, not completely better, but bit better. Yeah.
Okay, sir. So hello everyone. Good evening to all of you. I am Emma, the chemistry teacher here in Sahel. So today I am going to discuss about that how like about the questions of AQA, right? And how to solve them and what are the tips and tricks to get better scores. All right. So as discussed previously by Lavisha ma'am, that these GCSE papers are divided into two parts. One is paper one and another one is paper two. Each carries the 50% weightage, and the types of questions, grading, everything is discussed by Lavisha ma'am very, very well. Can I have the next slide, please? So in chemistry, we have these topics, these 10 chapters or 10 topics we have in the entire GCSE chemistry syllabus in AQA board. So we have divided, or rather AQ have divided these chapters into two parts in equally in the two papers. In the paper one, can I have the next slide, please? Okay, among all those chapters, or the topics. In paper 1, the topics are atomic structure and the periodic table, bonding structure and the properties of matter, quantitative chemistry, chemical changes, and energy changes. The writing time is 1 hour and 45 minutes. Also, same as the other papers in GCSE AQA, the papers are of two types, foundation and higher tier. So, we all know about all these things. These are already mentioned by Lavisha ma'am. So these papers, like both the paper 1 and paper 2, these carry 100 marks each. Okay. So in paper 2, the chapters which are discussed are the rate and extent of chemical change, organic chemistry, chemical analysis, chemistry of the atmosphere, and using resources. Right. So today, I will be discussing about a few questions asked in the previous year AQA. And today, the topics I am going to cover are atomic model, subatomic particles, and periodic table. For that, the key concepts would require are the concept of atomic models, their order of discovery, idea of the subatomic particles along with their discoveries. Also, the importance of reading out the periodic table and understanding the periodic trends. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is a sample question from the previous year paper of AQA. All right. So here we can see the question. And if we read that out, so the question is, at first, we have a description for that question. So discovery in chemistry led to a better understanding of atomic structure. Atoms were originally thought to be tiny spheres that could not be divided. The plum pudding model of the atom was then developed. The figure given over here represents the plum pudding model of the atom. So now finally, after this description, we have also the figure here. And the question finally asks is, describe the plum pudding model of the atom. So here we can already see that everything is explained, like given in the question itself, right? But I would like to know from your end that there is a mistake or in the figure given. Can anyone tell me about the mistake in this? Or rather, I should say it is not a mistake, it is incomplete. The figure is incomplete if you know about the plum pudding model. So if you know the answer, please put that in the chat box. Okay. So let me tell you that the white spheres, the tiny spheres you can see here, that should contain a negative charge, right? Okay. So here the plum pudding model, here the description is asked, already the figure is given to us, right? So we have to see that how AQA wants us to answer this, and this question carries 2 marks. So we have to look into the fact also that each question, how many marks for that, and how to get the total marks for each of the question, right? So if we try to describe the answer, then how we will say that? We will say that in plum pudding model, the answer is already present in the question itself. See here, the plum pudding model, the model is said the plum pudding. So we have to, this atomic model is compared with the plum pudding. So it is compared with a pudding of positive charge, and rather we can say it is a ball of positive charge into which the negatively charged electrons are embedded, right? So this is the complete answer. Here, 2 things are important to get the 2 marks. One is the positively charged sphere or ball, and another one is the negatively charged electrons which are embedded into. Now, I want to tell you that many of us, we already know about the atomic models and what mistake we will do. We know everything, but how we will do the mistake and how we will get a 0 marks here is, we already can see that there is a positive charge, and we know that positively charged particles, we know those are called the protons, right? And those are present in the nucleus itself. And if we think about the nucleus, then we have the neutrons also. And if we try to say this as that, okay, in the plum pudding model, the in the center there are the protons which are the positively charged, and the electrons are embedded into it. We will going to get a 0 marks. Why? Because the model, the plum pudding model, was given by J.J. Thomson, and who was also the discoverer of electrons. Right after the discovery of electron, he gave this model. So at that time, the protons, the neutrons, and the nucleus were not into existence, right? So if someone tries to write those things or mention protons, neutrons, nuclei, or nucleus in the answer, they are going to get a big zero, right? So we can see that how simple the question is, but how a sharp knowledge is required to write the answers to get the complete marks. Am I clear here? I hope I am. Okay, if not, you can raise your question in the chat box. Okay, so please next slide here. Okay, we can have the next slide now. We have already mentioned the answer. Okay, now talking about the various kind of questions. So that was the very, like, the question is very very easy, like, but the answer asked is in a tricky way, right? The question is asked in a tricky way that one might get that wrong. Okay. Next, the question asked here is atoms contain electrons, neutrons, and protons. Write these three particles in order of their discovery. So when I was talking about the topic, so I have already mentioned that we will going to discuss about the order of discovery also. So not only knowing about or mugging up the theories or the subject anything, we have to have the concept also, we have to have that understanding also. So we already know that electron, proton, and neutrons, they are the subatomic particles, but we never like think about that, okay, which one got discovered first, right? But see here, the question asked in the same way, that which was discovered earliest and which was the latest. So the answer here should be the electron, proton, and then the neutron. Neutrons are the latestly discovered subatomic particles. All right. So this is a very simple answer here. No, neither, like, we don't have to think much about it. If we know it, we can write it and we can get the full score. Okay. Now the next question will be on a new element, which is tennessine, which will have the atomic number 117. Next slide, please. Okay, so here the question asked is about predict the number of outer shell electrons in an atom of tennessine. So tennessine, give one reason for your answer, use the periodic table. So here we already know that in AQA we are provided with the periodic table, right? So one must should know how to read that, how to know, like, they must know the trends of periodic table. So here the question which is asked is, we have to tell about the tennessene's outer number of electrons, like the electrons which are present in the outermost shell of it and the reason behind it. So right now we do not have that periodic table, but we know for our like thinking. So I can give you the answer that it is present with the halogens, right? So it is the last or the newest halogen. So from there, we have to think for the answer. So when we have the periodic table, we do not even have to remember that, okay, it is like, we can only look into the periodic table and we can find out tennessine, which is placed with the halogens. So now the number of outer shell electrons, it should be 7. Why 7 then? Because the reason is also asked. So 7 because it is placed with the halogens. All the other halogens have 7 electrons in their outermost shell. So all the halogens are already placed in group 7, and this is the trend of periodic table, that in a particular group all the elements should have the same number of outermost electrons, right? So this idea has to be there in the student's mind when he or she is writing the answer, right? So here it is very very clear that if someone knows about a topic, he already knows the answer. But here the thing which works is, how do we writing it, and are we getting the full marks? Are we writing the answer accordance with AQA, right? So next slide, please. Okay, so I have discussed about the periodic table, the subatomic particles, and the atomic model. But as we have discussed that we have a lot of other chapters as well. So for all of those, so we have a few tips and tricks for chemistry. The first one is believe in yourself. This will I will say this because if you have gone through the entire syllabus once, you already know the answer. It is very, very obvious because you have seen that how elaborately they at first like show you the question, right? They give you all the information there. They are just checking your concept, right? Like how sharp a student has to be to write the answer. So the next point is on that only, understand the concept, not just memorizing them. So you cannot just memorize everything and go for the exams. The answers are based on your concept. Okay. Next, practice numerical problems. Yes, lots of numerical problems are also coming into the picture. So the student must practice the numerical ones, knowing rounding off. Any questions, like many numerical answers are in decimals. So the questions sometimes are asked in a particular number of digits, right? After the decimal. So one must know how to rounding them off. Next, know to read the periodic table effectively. Yes, it is very, very important to know all the trends of periodic table. For that, one must have the proper understanding on the periodic table. They do not have to remember anything because the periodic table will be already provided, but they must know how to read that. All right. Next, practice to balance the equations, and that will come with practice only. Okay. Next, idea of practicals. Yes, the student must know the very simple practical knowledge like the titration, chromatography, neutralization experiments, all of this. So these are a few tips and tricks for chemistry, which students should follow to get the higher score or higher grade in the exam. All right. So team, you can change the slide now. Thank you.
Yes, over to you, Lavisha ma'am. Sorry, Olivia ma'am. We can go ahead, please.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, ma'am. Hi, everyone. Hi, parents. A very good evening. Hi, students. So, students, I know one thing. I know that, okay, so along with the parents, so students must be there also. So, like, we all know one thing, like, remembering some of the things for students is very easy. But whenever it comes to doing some, like, if in case they have to do some mathematical things, so then it becomes quite tricky also for so many students. It's going to be. But like physics is collectively a thing in which they have to like memorize also, they have to understand also, they have to implement also, like all the things they have to do it in one subject. Okay, and same goes with chemistry also in so many cases. Okay, and so in GCSE physics, if in case we talk about, yes, the pattern is going to be same for physics, for chemistry, for biology. There is going to be no change into that. So, like if in case we talk about grading is going to be from 9 to 1 itself, where 9 is going to be the highest. And we are basically there are going to be different types of questions also. And along with that, so the plus point is we are also going to provide questions in such a way to students. Okay, like multiple choice, we will be providing. Short answer questions, yes, we are also going to cover that. Long structured questions, practical based questions, so that students shall also get prepared for their exams. Not only that, okay, they are having the knowledge of all the things, but along with the knowledge, so they should know that where and how to implement that thing. Okay, so that is something where we are also going to help the students. Yeah, Lavisha ma'am, we can move on to the next slide. Okay, so if in case we talk about the topics that are going to be covered in GCSE physics, so they are going to be energy, electricity. I think that every student, like everyone can see in daily life also, energy is the topic that is really, like physics is entirely related to daily life itself. Okay, so electricity is there, particle model of matter, everything around us is matter itself. Okay, then atomic structure, that is quite relatable to chemistry also. Then forces, waves, magnetism and electromagnetism, and at last there is going to be space physics. But don't worry, students, all these are not going to come in your one paper. They are going to be get divided into two papers. Okay, so like paper one and paper two. But you need to make sure that, okay, you are going to memorize all the things, or you can say you are going to understand all the things. You don't have to cram everything. Okay, and I would say you that in physics, you need not to cram anything, in fact. Okay, yeah, ma'am, you can take it forward. So if in case we talk about the paper one, so like since we were having 8 chapters in total, so 4 chapters are going to come in paper one, 4 chapters are going to come in paper two. But the main thing is the main part is that in paper two, some of the topics are going to come from paper one. That's why I told you that okay, you should understand the things. So once the students are able to understand the topic, then it will become very easy also for students to like implement that thing, to execute that thing, because well, like cramming is just for a short span of time. Okay, so that's why like we always prefer that okay, we shall take the best source out of that. Okay, we basically refer to different you can say books. Okay, so that we shall provide the best thing to the student. So which is going to become very easy also for students. Like if in case we have a look at to this picture, okay, in this picture we can easily explain 3 concepts also for physics itself. That's it. Okay, now we all know that okay, it's not like in this case, students will be able to like okay, energy conversion could be there, but there are going to be some other concepts also which are going to be included in it. So if in case energy, they know about the energy concept, then only they can move on to the second one. But they have to keep that energy concept into their mind also. Okay, so that's why we always need to make sure that students are not just remember, like they don't have to cram everything. They have to understand it. And like being a parent, you can also ask that, okay, so can you tell that what's the physics behind this thing? Then it will create a curiosity into their mind also. Okay, so if in case we talk about in topic 1 to 4 are going to come in paper one, which are going to be electricity, energy, particle model of matter, and then atomic structure. And similarly, if in case we move on to paper two, so in paper two, energy and electricity are also involved. Why they are involved? Because the chapters which are going to come, okay, so they require the prerequisite knowledge. Okay, like magnetism, electromagnetism. Ultimately, it's related to electricity itself. Okay, so that's why this prerequisite knowledge is required. So, which is why I am emphasizing on this thing that students should understand instead of just cramming all the things. Okay, and if in case we talk about yes, written exam, that is going to be for 1 hour 45 minutes, foundation and higher tier. And yes, we are going to mainly focus on the higher tier because like firstly we have to build the base, and after that only like we can move on to higher tier. Okay, so if in case students are able to understand the higher tier concepts, then obviously like they have come across that, we can say they have crossed those tiers also. Okay, and then it's going to be of 100 marks. 50% of GCSE is going to be of paper one, 50% of GCSE is going to be of paper two, then only so basically clubbing both of them. Okay, ma'am, you can take it forward. Okay, so we have a question. Okay, and I don't want to take you too deep inside the question answer because I know once students are able to understand the concept, then easily they can answer it. Like, so if in case we talk about this question itself, so we can see that okay, so there is a windmill also. Then obviously, like wind farm is there, which means that okay, it's going to be related to wind energy. So if wind energy is there, then obviously like we can ask for power also. Then we can ask for energy also. So like if students know the basic concept, then they can move on to higher tiers. That's what I told. Correct. So now we have like I have just seen this picture. And the very first thing that came into my mind was that it's related to windmill. Windmill, that means wind energy. Okay. Or we can say that it can generate electricity also. That means now electricity has also come into consideration. Okay. So that's why, like in the question also, what they have asked, figure shows a large wind farm of the coast of the UK. Okay, so figure is provided. The mean power output of the wind farm is 696 megawatt, which is enough power for 5,80,000 homes. Okay, so now like students need to calculate the mean power in this. Okay, and then in the next question, what they have asked, on one day, the demand for electricity in the UK is 34,000 megawatt. Suggest 2 reasons why wind power was not able to meet this demand. So there can be like, see, now they have asked students, you need to make sure about this thing. They have asked only 2 reasons. So you need not to move on to 3 or 4 reasons. Okay, you have to stick on to 2. Don't over attempt. Just stick on to what they have asked you. That's it. Okay, you need not to put so much of efforts. You just need to, okay, be a smart worker also. Okay, so and then in third one, what they have asked, some of the energy for wind used to rotate a wind turbine is wasted. An engineer oils the mechanical parts of a wind turbine. When do we? Okay, now if I would ask you, when do we provide oiling to any of the machine? Yes, it might be possible that okay, friction is more. In order to reduce the friction, we provide oiling. Okay, that means the force has also come into consideration. Friction is a force. Okay, so just start correlating it. Okay, with your daily life, with all the chapters are going to be interlinked, and that's what the main thing is that you should know that how to correlate. Okay, now you have to explain how oiling is going to affect the efficiency. That's what they have asked. So if in case you were like, I didn't move on to the third line of that question. I just read the second line, and from there only we got an answer, isn't it? So this is how you also need to think, and then it will become very easy for you. Okay, so main thing is you need to understand the concepts, and for that purpose only we try to provide the best engagement. Like we all know that okay, students used to get bored very easily. Like if in case they have to sit for an hour and then they have to study for an hour, then it become very like sometimes some of the students are like that okay, who can just sit for 40-45 minutes and then they are like okay, we are done with the study part. Okay, so for that purpose only, we used to maintain the content. We used to provide the content in such a way that is quite engaging. Okay, so that's the main reason, so that students should be able to understand also. Students should stay engaged also. Should be able to like correlate also with the daily life. And once student is starts correlating, it will become an easy for you also being a parent. Okay, yeah. So, ma'am, you can take it forward. Yeah, so these are the answers for the questions. Okay, so like you can also like you can easily take a screenshot also for this if in case you want to read it later on, that okay, the answers you were thinking and I was telling you, were they quite similar or not? You can take a screenshot also for this thing. Okay, I hope that if in case you were supposed to take a screenshot, you have taken that. Okay, yeah, ma'am, you can take it forward. Now, the most important thing is how students can score really well. That's the one of the most important thing, and I think so many students have this thing that okay, we want to score really well. So first thing is you need to understand the exam format also, and that is one of the most important thing that we also prefer. That okay, once we are going to cover one chapter, after that we are going to include some exam style questions, because students also should know, they should also be habitual to that, those type of questions. It should not be like a random question is coming into their exam. No. So that's why we also used to provide those exam style questions to students, and then master key concepts, all the concepts that are going to be there. Student needs to master into that thing. Like if in case they are unable to understand from one source, then you're obviously like as Lalit sir also told that okay, so we provide doubt sessions. Why do we provide doubt sessions? Because we want that okay, students should get mastered in all the concepts, because all the concepts are important. It's not like that we cannot say that okay, so from this concept, one concept, so much of thing is going to come, and from the second, it's nothing is going to come. No, we can't predict sometimes. Okay, that's why practice past papers. Obviously, past papers are like they give a very good knowledge about that. Okay, what type of questions are going to come in exams? Then show your working, like stepwise. You need to attempt the paper. It should not be like that. That okay, you have just like written all the things, the given data, and after that you have just written the answer. No, for formula also there are marks. Okay, so that's why you should provide all the steps which are there. Then healthy study habits. Like we all know that, okay, like some of the students are like who used to study at night, some just get up early in the morning and then study. So you should stick on to one. Okay, it should not be like that. One day you are studying at night, another day you are studying in the morning. Just stick on to one, because that's how you can just make your body also to attain that lifestyle. Okay, then tips and tricks which are important for physics. So what are those? First thing, practice more and more numericals. I know so many students get like stuck in the numericals. So for that, there is only one solution. You need to practice. There is no other solution for that. Then after that, start correlating, as I was already telling you, start correlating it with daily life, dividing abstract concepts into smaller ones. Like sometimes it might be possible, like there is a very huge concept, you won't be able to understand it in one go. That's okay. Just divide it into two parts. Okay. Then after that, you will be able to understand that thing. Then later on, refer to different sources. Don't stick to one. If you are unable to understand anything, then you need not to stick on to one. It might be possible that, okay, that's completely okay, that you are unable to understand like any topic or something like that. That's completely okay. But you need not to stick on to one. And obviously, like we are also there for you. And if in case you need any help from us, then obviously you can ask us in the doubt sessions also. Okay. So now, parents, that's all from our end. If in case now you are having any questions, you can surely ask us. Yeah, parents, you can surely ask us if in case you are having any questions from
Thank
anything
you,
like
Olivia,
is it.
ma'am. Thank
Yeah,
you so
thank you.
much. And it was wonderful, nice session from Emma ma'am and you both. It was really insightful. And yeah, parents, it's a question answer session. It's really sorry because we are a bit late, running, about a couple of minutes late from the designated time, but it was so interestful and I would say uh, in flow we have want to come, cover most of the things and most of the items. That's the reason we're a bit late. But anyways, you can ask questions here. If you're not here, you have our contact details, our email ID, as well as our phone numbers available on website. You can go and check, and we can email me anytime, us anytime. We will going to revert you back. This is our contact details on your screen, and we are just a call away or just an email away. We will definitely come back to you if you have further questions. And if you right now ask any questions, you are most welcome. Please. Any questions from any parent?
Hi, yeah, I've just got a quick question. With regards to the training that you normally provide, do you do mock exams for the GCSEs, the science? And if you do, when does it start?
Okay, yeah. So good question, actually. We have mock exam for all the classes, basically all the levels, A level and GCSE as well, but not face to face like we do for KS2. So we have face to face KS2 exams, but not for GCSE and A levels. We have mock exam, online mock exams. Okay, so that is basically going to start. One of the mock exam is in midterm, which is around, I would say, in January-ish. Another is in Marchish. And from Marchish, we have a couple of exam back to back till May, because normally in GCSE and A level, both exam happens in May and June together, depending on the subject and the school.
Okay, fantastic. That's in relation to the mock exam. I've got a couple of more questions. Regarding the sessions, what sessions do you provide? And are the sessions, are they available now? Are we able to get, inside information from from teachers that actually teach the subjects? Would it be possible?
Yeah, we have a very structured program, I would say, and it's a year-long, which class, which topic, which subject, everything is fixed. It's a timeline-based, milestone-based course approach. It's not that it's unstructured. It's very structured. This which class, which topic. For example, it's a 40-week program. So there are two type of programs: 30-week and there is 40-week program. 40-week program is for the kids who are not in GCSE and A level. Means other classes like year 10, year 12, year 9, year 8. Those 40-week, and because in GCSE and A level we are only 30-week away. That's why we have 30-week program, and every class is structured, which is to be done at what time. And within that, we need to plan this quarterly and half-yearly mock exams as well. So this plan is there. And the teacher would be in consistent touch with you, giving all those insights which you are just right now asking. So we have every month one PTM, at least one, maybe more than that, but at least one PTM is already designated every month, every student, to give all those insights specific to the student. And also, normally what happens in doubt sessions or some other sessions, we extend the classes and give more feedback if required to the teacher, parents, if in between the months, if we want to give the feedback. So yeah, this is what our practice is. Yeah. And anyways, you have a designated, academic counselor. So that's why if you want anything, anytime, you can connect to the teacher as well as counselor, as well as to the back office team, and they will support you as and when required.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. My last question is, I missed the first session of this webinar. Is there any chance I can get a link for it? And also with regarding the teachers that do the science subjects, I've got a child who's in year 11 and sitting for the GCSEs. Is there a particular, particular teachers that are providing such service, and where do I get their details from?
Okay, so let me answer your question in parts. First question is regarding this recording. So this entire session is recorded, and not only this session, before as well, we have done multiple webinars, and all those are in our Facebook channel, right? So you can get that link from our website. So in our Facebook channel, you have all these recordings, including today's recording, would be uploaded there, so you can see there as well. Okay, now coming back to the teachers. This because of limitation of time, and we have only 3 teachers here, one for physics, chemistry, and biology. Independent, specific classes, specific course specific subject teachers are here today, but we have more teachers, so who are not here. So we have about uh, multiple teachers for chemistry, multiple for physics, multiple for biology, right? So yeah, so you have multiple teachers, and I think if you need any further detail, I will ask my counselor to contact you and give you all those details which you're asking for about the teachers. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. It's been really insightful session. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for kind words. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Any other questions from any other parent? Okay, I can see. Thank you for multiple parents. Thank you so much. And, you can contact us anytime. I think we have a question here. We have not good captured the teacher this now GCSE, my son. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, you, as I mentioned, we will contact you back, and we'll guide you for all the questions which you have, and all the recordings are there in our channel, right? So thank you everything, and Velisha, do you have any questions before, any point you want to put across before we wrap up the call?
Yes, surely. I would just request everyone to scan the QR code on the screen right now. So you will be having all the details regarding our social media platform, which includes Facebook, Instagram, and Linktree as well. So any updates for the further webinars, any updates regarding the classes, any further classes that we're going to begin, or any new topics that we have, we will be uploading everything on our social media handle. And we have our contact details mentioned here on the screen. Our team will get back to you as soon as possible, and we will be answering all your questions regarding what are the classes, what are the timings of the classes, and how the structured classes works. In terms of the teachers profile, you can visit our Instagram page and have a look at the page wherein we have mentioned the teacher's bio in a very descriptive manner, so it would be helpful for you as well. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. I much appreciate it. Thank you.
So thank you so much, and let's connect again and in our next webinar, and definitely our team is going to contact you separately for all the details. Thank you so much. Thank you. Arun, Antaresh. Antaresh. Anyways, good night, guys. Good night. Bye.
So Aaron sir is here.
Hello.